How's it going, y'all? Today's video I'm very excited to get into. It is one of the most special places in all of the Twin Cities. I truly believe one of the most unique propositions of a place to live in the Twin Cities. It's beautiful. It's a fall day, a bit chilly, but I'm excited to share it with you. This is Wayzata, Minnesota. Stick around. My name is Jesse Lynch and I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To the Twin Cities, and you can check out our website, tothetwincities.com. But this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to call home, a place to land here in the beautiful Twin Cities of Minnesota. And that's whether you're buying a house for the first time or relocating here from a different city, state, country, planet, dimension, whatever it is. First-time home buyers and relocations, that's what we do, and that's what we do better than anybody else. So if either of those things appeal to you, then do us both a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see when we put these videos out. And if you wouldn't mind, give the video a thumbs up, say something nice or helpful or whatever. Say, hey, I bet you looked really awkward right here. Yeah, I feel a little awkward. All good. And as always, I say this every video, but if you're thinking about moving here, if you already live here and you're trying to buy a house, get a hold of us and we'll make it happen. We will work our butts out for you. So you can go to our website, tothetwincities.com, or you can shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. They lead to the same inbox, so it's completely up to you how you do it. We just ask that you do and look forward to helping you. This strip right here is basically the main entrance into Wayzata from the cities, right? So as you are coming from Minneapolis or St. Paul and you are trying to get to, say, downtown Wayzata, basically you have to come through this way, and there's a little bit of conveniences along here, and then more that way is the actual downtown area. I'm excited to show you. I'm excited to meet up with Alex, who grew up here. We shot a video on Wayzata like 2 years ago, and we thought it deserves another look, and we got some nice fall colors, so I think that makes it even better. All right, let's go pick up Alex. All right, y'all, right now we're actually on this bridge that we were at about 2 years ago, shooting this same video, and we're talking Wayzata, and this park back here is called Shaver Park, and there's a little beach right up here that we'll walk by, which is just basically Wayzata Beach. Alex grew up in Wayzata. If maybe you've seen that video, it's old. It was the first video Alex was in, and we just, thought, let's do it again. Let's kind of show off a different season, although it is cold again, naturally.
At least there's some colors this time. It's
yeah,
not that grayscale winter that
there was
people are used to.
Right, there was a dude like snowboarding or like wind snowboarding on the frozen lake. So we at least know it's warmer than that.
I grew up about 5 minutes away from downtown Wayzata, so I spent a lot of my childhood and high school years down here. And down here, it's all about the lake life. I mean, Wayzata sits on Lake Minnetonka, and it is a hot spot during the summer.
Yeah.
I think families flock here for that lake life, and especially the schools are some of the best in the state. Yeah,
it's gonna be a top 5 all the time, like top 5 school districts in the state all the time. And yeah, if not top 1 or 2.
Definitely. And over the past 10, 15 years or so, the development in downtown Wayzata has changed so much. I mean,
even the last 2 years. Yeah,
the last 2 years. So many condos have gone up, so many new restaurants have come in, and a lot of cool shops have been built. Yeah,
it's you can see there's not much room in Wayzata. It's not a big place.
Right.
And so to have access to the lake and kind of like the adorable place that is downtown Wayzata, it's like, well, it has to become more dense. So that's what's happening here. There's like a little bit of like a retiree vibe at some moments, but still great neighborhoods. Obviously schools are still such a huge priority that, yeah, that attracts people who need to go to those public schools.
Wayzata is about 20 minutes from downtown, give or take. Sometimes with traffic it can be like 30 minutes, but from Wayzata to St. Paul, that's solid 30 minutes. And to the airport, which is in Bloomington, that's about a 25-minute drive.
Yeah, so, you know, it's pretty consistent to the Twin Cities. It's definitely on the edge of what we would call like convenient drive-in, but I just came here from kind of western Minneapolis, and I think you just take Excelsior Boulevard or something like that, and it was just so quick, so easy to get to, like maybe 15-20 minutes, something like that. So simple, so slick. Alex used to actually work here. I think that's kind of adorable that we're that we're here, but it's a small place, so it doesn't really surprise me. Good kid, you know, but no, it's like population here is like 4,500 people, which is fairly dense. You know, there's not a whole lot of like acreage to be had here, and if you do, it costs a good chunk of money.
And that's why they're building homes and condos basically on top of each other. You cannot go anywhere in Wayzata without seeing a new build or some kind of development going on.
Yeah, and the lots that exist aren't that big to begin with.
Right.
So if you want a big house, you're basically totally taking up that lot. But they do have some laws about that, about how big, how much of the lot, how close to your neighbors your house can be, which I think is cool.
And I think at the end of the day, people are willing to sacrifice the lot size for a really nice home that's so walkable to downtown Wayzata and all of the amenities down here.
Yeah, and you will see the homes are very, very well kept on the whole. And actually, before we get into homes, don't slip. I'm afraid this is frozen.
Not that cold yet.
Yeah. Before we get into homes, let's talk about the schools. As we said, we're talking top 5. No matter where you're looking, they're pretty much going to come across. Actually, according to niche.com, Wayzata is ranked #1 best school district in Minnesota, bar none. It's ranked #3 school district with the best teachers. It's also ranked 46th best school district in the nation.
Yeah, and they're constantly getting awards for top 10 this, top 10 that.
Yeah.
It's a very prestigious, solid public school overall.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, and there's great schools. You turned out great, so
I hope so.
You know, I think that's cool to see anyway. But yeah, you have what, Wayzata Public or Senior High School is probably what you went to, right? It's going to be one of the top ranked high schools in the game.
There's 3 middle schools in the Wayzata School District: East, West, and Central. Central is probably about 5 to 10 minute drive from here, a little bit more landlocked. West Middle School is actually like 5 minutes away. So when I went to West Middle School, and you know, after school on Fridays, it's so easy to just walk down to downtown Wayzata with your friends and, you know, hang out. And that's kind of just the culture. I mean, there's a lot of retired people down here, but there's also a lot of, you know, middle school students and high school students just come down here to hang out.
Yeah, it's very alive. It's like, you know, very active.
Definitely.
Just like kind of a happening place. And very wholesome. I think in the last video you said something like, it's just like a great place where you can just be a kid. And I don't know why. I was like, yeah, that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. And I think, needless to say, the elementary schools here are all top notch. They're building them all the time. But yeah, A's across the board.
Yeah, I think there's like literally 7 or 8 of them at this point now.
Yeah.
Median home sales price is about $899, and that's just because Wayzata is such a small area, and so there really aren't that many homes going on the market each month. There might be like 1 or 2, or, you know, depending on new builds that are going up. But that number might fluctuate just because there's not enough homes going on the market. So one month it might be 900K, like I mentioned. Another month it just might be something completely different.
Yeah, and like, you know, an annual median, it's going to be high. It's going to be up close to that 900, you know, $1 million mark, probably as a median. But the monthly data is just not that useful because there's not that many homes. Also, people don't really move out.
Right.
It's like, if you're here, you're like, why would I move out? Unless I'm like moving to another country. Like, why would I leave? This is it. This is what it's about.
Right.
And one thing I think to note is that pretty much across the board, whatever the price is, the homes are going to be very, very well taken care of. You have sort of the option for a more modest, but still probably like immaculate home, so modest in size, or I guess the option for like a truly like aspirational lakefront, you know, $15 million home here as well. But the one thing in common is that they're going to be super, super nice. Oh, this root system on this tree is wild. All right, we're gonna go for a drive, warm up a little bit. See you in a sec.
Right now we're on Lake Street in Wayzata, and that's kind of like the main core strip of Wayzata. I mean, every shop, restaurant, everything is off of Lake Street.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just have a lot of memories coming down here and hanging out. There's always something to do. There's the railroad tracks right there. There's Ben & Jerry's. There's everything you can imagine.
You can't see it, yeah, lake is like right there as well, like the lake. And yeah, it's such a beautiful little downtown area.
Yeah, and just recently they actually put this walking path and this biking path in, so you used to be able to you didn't used to be able to really walk one end to the other without kind of running into people biking and walking on the same path. But yeah, it's a lot more walkable now, and it's just kind of a happening scene. You'll see up here all the new things they put in.
Yeah, it's really like a special downtown. It's hard to match, you know. That might be like the 20th Porsche I've seen, so that tells you something about the area. So we want to talk about pros and cons of living in Wayzata. I'm gonna start with the easy ones. School district. It's the, like, according to Niche, #1 school district in Minnesota, top 50 in the nation. That's crazy. You were talking about the teachers too.
Yeah, I mean, with a great school and with a great school is going to come a great faculty, and I have a lot of great teachers that I still am in contact with that are just some of the best I ever had. And yeah, you can't really go wrong when you're at a top 10 school like that.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of opportunities as a student.
I think he actually kind of like brought that to my attention. I didn't go to a top 10 school. I went to a decent, pretty good school, but like the idea that part of what makes it top 10 are the people there teaching and sort of the curriculum and all that. But of course that's the case, and we'll actually get to a con about the schools that's I think only somebody who went there could really speak on that. So I think it's really great to have Alex. Pro number 2 for me, beautiful homes from the more modest size up to the absurd, like insane lakefront stuff. They're beautiful generally across the board.
Another pro for me is that there's just so many great outdoor spaces, and I think the city really prioritized that in the last 10 years because they've put in so many more outdoor seating spots that aren't, you know, affiliated with the restaurants, just public seating and live music kind of stages. And in the summer when it's actually warm out, unlike right now, there's like live music going on different parts of Lake Street, which just isn't something that happened like 15 years ago. Like, that's very new to Wayzata, and I think that just goes to show what kind of atmosphere Wayzata offers now. I mean, there's also a lot of great shops and kind of like appreciation for the arts. I think that mural over there was green last year, so they changed it.
Oh, cool. That's a cool mural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's art shops, there's art kind of exhibits in the summer, and in the fall, there's JJ Hill Days, which is like a carnival that kind of comes through, and they got a Ferris wheel and all sorts of stuff.
And I think too, not only is this downtown something truly special and unique, but you do have a good amount of suburban conveniences. You could live most of your life here in Wayzata without leaving although it's really small. So certain things like a Target, like a mall, you're gonna have to leave for, but it's not like it's far.
No, you'd probably go to Plymouth, which is, you know, when people think Wayzata, they also think sort of Plymouth.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wayzata public schools, most of them are in Plymouth.
Yeah.
I think just Wayzata West Middle School is probably the only one in downtown Wayzata proper.
Yeah, which is fascinating. Never knew that until the first time we did the videos in Plymouth. I was like, oh, this is Wayzata Public School. But yeah, the first time we did this video, we were shooting right here.
Oh God, that
Alex
was so cold.
freezing his butt off. So yeah, you have a good amount of suburban conveniences. It's not crazy. Like the only grocery store might be Lund's and Byerly's, but it's a great grocery store. You know, they do a good job. So yeah, in general, that's all really great. And then, you know, we were talking a little bit, kind of thinking about what the pros and cons are. And you mentioned sort of like the tightness of the community.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a large part of that stems from the fact that Wayzata itself is so small. Everything is off Lake Street. So just in a day in Wayzata, like you're gonna see people you know, and there's just a lot of appreciation for, you know, their well-regarded public schools and high school. And I guess just touching on the sense of community, there's always something going on down here, whether it's like an outdoor event or an art exhibit or just nice weather in the summer. You just kind of come down here and you get that tight sense of community atmosphere.
Yeah. I think, and it's also such a destination that I think they do that, you know, the arts and all that. This can be a place to come to for those things because it's such a beautiful and exceptional spot.
Yeah, you see all these spots behind us, and they got all these, I don't know what this is, but
A memorial of some sort. Yeah, it's beautiful. I think we're gonna turn around and start heading that way, but you know, the other side of the coin of the tight community is this might be a pro for a lot of people, but there are maybe some cons sort of associated with it, which fundamentally on the same. It's tight-knit, it's small, you can't really go anywhere without seeing somebody you know.
And I think to that point, there's not really a sense of anonymity down here. Yes, it is a very tight-knit community, but you know, if there are people you're not hoping to see, you might see them down here.
Yeah.
Which might be more of a problem for someone that's in middle school or high school, but like,
Yeah. But that makes sense, right? If you're like a kid and you're in some kind of a self-conscious time in your life, you're like, I just don't want to see anybody I know, you know. But I know there are adults like that too. I know people for sure who really want their anonymity. They want to be able to go to the grocery store or the lake or something and not run into somebody they know.
which is pretty impossible to do down here.
Yeah.
You're gonna run into someone you know, whether you're up a few blocks at Lund's and Byerly's or you're just walking around in Wayzata.
Yeah.
The chances are very high.
Yeah, I think if you have too sort of distinctive a vehicle too, it's like you're gonna be seen a lot.
Definitely.
Definitely no sneaking around to be done.
It can be a good thing though. I mean, I have a friend that drives classic cars, and he would always come drive it through
I love that.
Lake Street, and so I'd be walking, I'd see him, and it's a two-sided sword. I would say.
And I think like there is a lot of beauty in that. So I think overwhelmingly the tightness of it and kind of the small coziness is a pro, but yeah, not for everybody necessarily, you know. So another con, and I think kind of pretty obvious one, is that it's expensive. You know, you don't get all this without paying for it, you know, a pretty good amount. And yeah, you know, median sale price well over double, probably even close to triple or more of the Twin Cities Metro. But yeah, you know, if you can afford it, this is kind of the place to be.
Yeah, and if you can find one. I mean, there's usually only 1 or 2 homes on the market at any month during the year.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the price is one thing, but being able to actually find one, and I mean, depending on if you want kind of like that lakefront home or if you want one that's just in downtown Wayzata, you might be searching for a while.
Yeah, if you're holding out for Wayzata, hey, by the way, that's that mural we were talking about.
Yep.
It'll be in the B-roll, you'll see it, it's cool. But yeah, like that part of it, that's tough. And actually I think that leads to the next con pretty well, which is that there's because it is difficult to get into, because it's expensive, it might feel a bit too exclusive for some people.
Right.
You know, it is exclusive. Like, it's exclusive in that there just isn't a lot to choose from, and so it costs a lot. etc. And then, you know, because of that, because it's, you know, in the sort of like upper echelon of financial brackets, you're gonna, I don't know, either you're gonna feel, it might be a little bit of projecting, but seems like there's a little bit of a keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing going on.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier, like that was the 25th Porsche you saw driving.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be like that. And
Yeah.
you know, between cars and homes and, you know, people, there's definitely that sense to a degree.
Yeah, I understand that there are people who have the money and they're like, well, no, it's not, I'm not trying to be flashy. This is just nice. I just like this.
It's kind of a lifestyle down here.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it is.
Yeah, and you know, if that's not for you though, you might feel that. You might get a sense of that, which, you know, it won't be for everybody.
Speaking of not for everybody, Wayzata feels like it is for everybody during the summer. I mean, there are so many
The whole
tourists
world.
that, yeah, the whole world decides to come to Wayzata in the summer, or so it seems. I mean, Minneapolis, maybe not like a #1 tourist destination, but if people are coming to Minnesota, they're more than likely gonna come check out Wayzata because it's hard to visit Minnesota and not at least check it out.
Yeah, and you know, if you live in Minnesota and you're like, oh, we want to go to the lake, we want to go boating or something like that, this is very much a destination for local people too.
Right, and with that said, it just gets so hectic and busy here during the summer. I mean, the amount of street parking that they've had to add because of that is astronomical.
Good on them for doing it though, yeah.
And it can be extremely tough to find parking in the summer when it's busy and sidewalks are crammed and you're waiting in line for ice cream on a hot day.
Yeah.
It can get chaotic.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen it pretty dense down here, like doing a showing, and I'm like, whoa, like, like is something going on? It's like, no, it's just a nice day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Last con for me, and you kind of alluded to this when we were talking about the schools. With a top 10 school, there's going to be a lot of students, and it can get very competitive. For me as a high school student applying to colleges back in the day, you're competing against a super large student body, and that can be very overwhelming to like make yourself stand out, I guess, on an application.
Also a very large and equally sort of like high achieving student body.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. And not even just with academics, with athletics, you know, the competition is crazy. So we've actually had clients that are looking for a school district that, you know, is a good school, but has opportunity for students to actually participate in athletics and not just be benched, which, you know, happens at a bigger school. Yeah,
we had some people, I think they had kids who loved soccer. The dad was like a soccer coach, and he's like, my kid isn't gonna, you know, be Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's cool. He doesn't want to be, but I want him to be able to play throughout his, you know, high school career. And so they were looking for something less competitive than Wayzata. How many people were in your graduating class?
I think like 900, so
that's a lot.
Yeah, graduation was very long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's going to be a lot of competition, academics, athletics, even extracurriculars sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, and then last con, I don't even see it as a con. I find it actually to be one of like the most charming pieces about Wayzata is the train. If you're really susceptible or really sensitive to noise, it might be annoying, but I think it's so, like, seeing the train come through is just such like a wholesome kind of moment here in Wayzata.
And it's kind of what people are excited about when they come down here. They're like, oh, the train is like 5 feet away from the sidewalk. That's,
it goes right by the lake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, it's a key core piece of Wayzata, and to get rid of it would just,
it's kind of the identity.
It's the identity, yeah.
They have James J. Hill days. Right. James J. Hill is a railroad guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a shame. You know?
It's celebrated down here. Everyone loves the train. Some people hate the noise, but you get used to it over time.
What are you gonna do? All right, we're gonna go for a drive, and then I think we're gonna talk through sort of the for fans of, if you like Wayzata, it's difficult to find things that are really similar, but there's a few that come to mind.
Yeah. So right now we're in a neighborhood just like 4, 5, 6 blocks from downtown Lake Street, but
It's not a very big place.
no, yeah, could walk here.
Yeah.
But this kind of just showcases what a neighborhood that, you know, isn't in the city is like. And, you know, big streets, beautiful homes.
It is beautiful. This
yeah,
street is very lovely.
Very pretty. I didn't grow up in this kind of neighborhood. I grew up probably like 5-10 minutes away, and just a little bit more spread out. But I mean, for lot sizes, these homes do get quite a bit of space on their land.
Yeah, like
nice homes.
You know, I mean, and they fit really big homes. We talked about it in the first one that we did of this, where it's a very interesting combination of brand new or 10-year-old, 20-year-old, like huge homes, and much more modest 100-year-old homes. These two are a very good example, right? Right there, boom, huge new home right there. Older, more modest, smaller, but still very cute, and a lot of them are really well taken care of. I do think to some degree it's a matter of time before most of those are gone.
Yeah, and most of the smaller ones are just getting wiped and just replaced with a bigger, nicer home. But yeah, there's, like you said, a diverse style of home. You have the new builds and then just the traditional older ones, and it's kind of the charm of Wayzata.
Yeah, this one I don't like. It's a very nice home. I don't think that one will get scraped. You know, like that one will be maintained for a long time. This one over here, it's like a very cute cottagey thing. Something tells me that to sort of protect the identity of Wayzata, that will be saved as well.
Absolutely.
You know? So not everything will be scraped and it'll be a brand new build, but a lot of them are for sure. That is a thing that's going on here a lot. But all right, we're gonna talk for fans of, if you watch these videos, you know we have this section where we like to say, if you like what you see here, maybe check out these other areas. But before I do, I would just like to say, if you're thinking about moving here, if you already live here and you're trying to buy a home here, get a hold of us. We'll crush it for you. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds, or you can shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. They'll lead to the same spot, so it's completely up to you how you do it. We just ask that you do. I'm distracted by how large this yard is.
Yeah.
This home's yard is gigantic. Yeah.
Yeah, field goal post.
Yeah, like actually. But yeah, so get a hold of us. We'd love to help. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see when we put out these videos. The best videos anywhere on the internet about what it's like to live here. Okay, for fans of. We're gonna start with the ones where we're like, these are a little bit different, but we see clients who are considering Wayzata and these other areas. So the first one, I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah, but not if you're not from here. If you're from here, it's fairly obvious. It's Minnetonka. Minnetonka is the namesake of the lake that Wayzata is on. It has really good schools, similar to Wayzata, proximity extremely close. So for sure, people who are considering Wayzata are often considering Minnetonka. That said, the further west you go in Minnetonka, the more it feels like Wayzata.
Yeah, I mean, the closer you get to the lake is further west.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, people that are looking around homes in Wayzata also consider Minnetonka just because it's right there and it's still got an element of that lake life.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much the downtown aspect.
The cuteness is not there quite as much.
Right. Still a beautiful area and beautiful homes out there too.
And either way, you're gonna have a big school district.
Yeah.
Like even though Wayzata is small, like the school district is huge, and like the high school, for example, is going to be quite large as well.
Another one I would add to that list would be Plymouth. Goes without saying, it is a neighboring suburb of Wayzata.
High school's there.
Right. Further away you get from Wayzata, you know, further into Plymouth you go, the less it feels like that kind of lake life Wayzata. But again, this high school is in Plymouth, so you know, when people think Wayzata, you know, Plymouth is one of the first places that comes to mind. Yeah,
for sure, because of access to that school, and it's like, how many friends did you have who technically lived in Plymouth? You know,
right?
A huge,
probably
amount
most
of them. Yeah. Again, it's much bigger, but yeah, it's gonna have. It doesn't have the same identity, similar to Minnetonka. Not quite the same cute downtown, and just like very unique identity that Wayzata has. Next up is going to be Eden Prairie. This is now kind of, if you're not geographically tied to this area, and you're just looking for a beautiful suburb. I think Eden Prairie is beautiful, with really good schools. Eden Prairie has that. A ton of people who are considering Wayzata are considering Eden Prairie as well.
If you're looking for a place on the other side of the metro, say you're working in St. Paul or Arden Hills, and you don't necessarily want to commute 45 minutes to work from Wayzata, I would add Stillwater to that list. Stillwater has a cute little downtown area, and I think their public school is it's
really
top
good.
5 as
yeah,
well.
top 5, top 10. Yeah, really good schools.
So great schools, very cute little downtown area. Probably not as much as like the lake life. I don't think they have,
and not quite as bougie either.
Not quite as bougie either.
Yeah.
But
it's like riverfront instead of lakefront. A little less bougie. Yeah, but still touristy. It has a lot in common.
And still has kind of its own charm to it. Yeah. So I think between Wayzata and Stillwater, it comes down to, you know, proximity to the metro and whether you want to be on the western side or if you need to be more on the eastern side.
Yeah, I think it's a really good sort of solution if you're like, I love this, but I work way too far away. I think Stillwater's a good option. Okay, now for the two that I think are the best examples, the closest sort of kin to Wayzata. Number one is going to be Excelsior. Excelsior is just on the other side of the lake. Super nice.
Yeah, Excelsior is also on Minnetonka, and they have a cute little downtown area, a little bit more quaint than Wayzata.
Not quite as bougie.
Definitely not as bougie, but still has a historical aspect, very old area, and again, has a cute downtown area. Great public schools too. I'm not sure if they're in the Minnetonka school system or.
I think it's Minnetonka, but very, very good schools as well.
It's hard to go wrong. It's hard to go wrong in a western suburb of Minneapolis.
Yeah. Anything that is like contiguous to Lake Minnetonka, that's gonna have good schools, pretty much across the board. So yeah, Excelsior for sure. I think sort of like aesthetically, it's one of the closest things that you get to what you see here in Wayzata. And then a little less aesthetically, but something that has a lot of sort of like the soul or the character of Wayzata is actually, two spots that we've done videos on very recently. The first of which is Morningside, which is a neighborhood in Edina. It's like the northwest sort of corner of Edina. It's really close to Minneapolis. Amazing schools. Edina is known for having top 5 schools as well, and kind of the quaintness, the coziness, but a little more urban, or at least a little more urban adjacent than what you have here. And then the other one I'm wrapping in with that is Linden Hills. Linden Hills is a neighborhood in Minneapolis. It's beautiful, it's very sought after. If you want to live in the city and have something that has kind of all of this soul and character, Linden Hills is very nice. Again, a little bit of bouginess, a little bit of, are we gonna get absolutely wrecked by this dog?
Our dog.
Yeah, a little bit of bouginess though, and a really cute, like, little downtown core of Linden Hills where there's restaurants and shops and stuff like what you see here. So Linden Hills and Morningside, Edina are really just something so similar, and people, as we chat with them, they would consider the two spots because there's just kind of a similar identity. By the way, we're like right at the elementary school that Alex went to.
Middle school. That one's West Middle School, and yeah, like just goes to show the walkability of Wayzata, and it just shows how walkable it is.
Yeah, we made pretty short work of this little strip. But anyway, Wayzata is a unique proposition. The For Fans of was actually kind of a challenge because it's so interesting.
It's almost one of a kind.
Yeah, it really is.
It's hard to compare it.
Yeah, you'll come here, you'll check out the neighborhoods, and you'll see that, like, yeah, it's difficult to find anything that is really on par with Wayzata. But hey, if you are interested, we'll talk to you soon. You know the deal. You know the drill. I said it earlier. See you in the next video. Say what's up to Alex in the comments. Say something nice about Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesse.
What are you doing? All right, bye guys.